Recently, New Jersey Education Report's Laura Waters spoke to education policy expert Paula White about her new role as Executive Director of JerseyCAN.
Hi, Paula. Thank you so much for joining us on NJER TV. And we're so thrilled that you're going to be the new Executive Director of JerseyCAN.
Thank you so much, Laura. It's great to be back, and it's great to be having this conversation with you.
You have a long history of advocating for teachers and students, and I wondered what drove you to take over the helm at JerseyCAN.
First and foremost, New Jersey is my home state. I do live here, and my children went to school in the public school system here in the state of New Jersey. I founded a public school, a public charter in Newark, New Jersey, and I also led school improvement for the entire state for public schools through the New Jersey Department of Education. The children here are near and dear to my heart, and I see so much potential in our public schools. But the reality is that much of it has not been realized. And so when I had this opportunity, I decided to jump at it because there's a lot of unfinished business. And I'd like to make my contribution to really moving this thing forward, especially in the wake of the pandemic and all that has exacerbated for our children.
Throughout the pandemic, JerseyCAN has served, in my view, as sort of a surrogate Department of Education. What would you like to see going forward as the role of the DOE and the role of JerseyCAN in managing this learning crisis?
We need to make sure that our Department of Education is giving us as much information about what is going on in our schools in real time. That's one of the things that we don't have the luxury of when we're talking about educating children. We can't kick the can down the road in terms of making sure that we know what's going on with our students. And so I really see the department's role as ensuring that all of the key positions in the department are filled, and that they're also providing comprehensive support and the right kind of guidance to schools to ensure that they are, best poised to fulfill, their role in driving achievement for the students that they serve.
As long as we're talking about the Department of Education, I'd like to ask you sort of a sensitive question. You have a history there. You were Chief Turnaround Officer at the Department of Education for years. In 2018, you were selected as the Assistant Commissioner of Education. There was a vote by the State Department of Education, and they improved you unanimously. And it's my understanding that you went to work and Governor Murphy fired you. Is that accurate? And can you tell us what that felt like?
When I was unanimously approved by the State Board of Education to take on Assistant Commissioner role, I was elated because I knew how important it was to continue to drive for achievement for our students. And when, and it was a reunion of sorts because, again, I had been at the department, as you stated. And so going back, seeing former colleagues and also just hearing from them snippets about sort of, I'm really hoping that we can work on X and work on Y. And, just in the 30 or 45 minutes when folks came up to me, it was just, it was really soul filling. And I was really looking forward to that role. So when I got the call, it was jarring, quite frankly, and it was more so confusing because it didn't make any sense. I am not sure that it makes any more sense now than it did then. And I can't speak to the motivations of the persons involved. But what I do know is that there was an opportunity there to really drive the work. And had that opportunity been capitalized on, we would have arguably been even in better shape as we think about, what ended up ensuing with the pandemic and things like that, things that we did not anticipate. And so for me, I was, as a Black woman, as an educated person, I was able to land on my feet in very short order. But what I want to really focus on is the students, and to really think about, how we're vetting folks. And when we trade, competency for politics, what is the collateral damage and who gets hurt in those situations? And the answer is the children. And so administrations come and go. And, that is the reality of our political landscape, and, irrespective of party or affiliation, they come and go. But what should remain constant is our focus on what is best for children. And that, to me, is not related to politics. It is related to our obligation to the youth of New Jersey, because they ultimately are going to be what moves our state forward and continues to make it a wonderful place to live.
Paula, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's been a great conversation. Thank you so much for having me.